Today is a wet day, a very wet day, and getting ready to go four-wheel driving in the wet can sometimes be a bit uncomfortable. I'm out today with the team from ARB Penrith on another one of their customer drive days. ARB Penrith run a few of these days each year, and it's a great opportunity for friends and customers to go out and put their vehicles to the test with a team of professionals who can offer specialist and general four-wheel drive advice. On today's drive, we are just west of Lithgow in the area around Lake Lyle, and our first task for the day is to get in a bit of practice before we head into the Lidsdale State Forest and then Marrangaroo National Park. The plan is to head to the top of Mount Walker for a picnic lunch, which in this weather might be a bit of a challenge with the current amount of rain. Lake Lyle is a lake formed by a dam on the Cox's River, and the water from the dam is used to cool the two nearby power stations. And just down near the lake is a bit of a quarry, which is the ideal place to get the heart rate up and do a bit of hill climbing. The generally abrasive shale surface is not quite so grippy in the wet and is proving to be quite a test, especially when you have a wheelbase as long as this.
Just a little more momentum, not too far.
Warren is on the radio, offering some guidance to those who wanted to take on the hill climb challenge.
Aim for me. Drive it, drive it, drive it, drive it, drive it. That was fun.
But enough practice, it's time to head over into Lidsdale State Forest to start our trek to Mount Walker. There's a fair mix of vehicles on the trek with us today. A few utes, some Nissan Patrols, a couple of Land Cruisers, and a giant Ford F250. This trip features some pretty mountainous tracks, and there are plenty of long downhill descents to tackle. And of course, because of the rain, which hasn't stopped all morning, there's plenty of large puddles and water crossings to keep us on our toes. And if there's lots of descents, that usually means there'll be plenty of climbing to do as well. This hill and many others like it prove to be a lot easier than expected, considering the sloppy surface. Now, it would have been good to meet a few of the people on today's trip, but the rain was keeping everyone inside their vehicles where it was nice and dry. As we get nearer to the first crossing of the Cox's River, the vegetation was slowly closing in on the track, and we were wondering if we'd made a wrong turn. We soon got to the side of the river, and today's rain and the rain we've had over the last few weeks was keeping the river flowing at a fairly fast pace. But the depth at this crossing was only about 300mm deep, so it wasn't going to cause any dramas. And on the other side of the river, the track opened up again, so we were on the right route. On the other side of the river, the road out was starting to get interesting, with a bit more thought needed to navigate this tricky section. Picking your line is important, and it's interesting to see the different lines taken by different drivers. And we'll be back soon with part 2 of our Mount Walker Drive Day. Welcome back to our day trip to Mount Walker. Mount Walker is located in New South Wales and is less than 6 kilometres from the centre of Lithgow, the way the crow flies. But you wouldn't know it looking at the current surrounds. It feels like the middle of nowhere. And of course it takes a lot longer to get here when you have to wind your way through Lidsdale State Forest and Marrangaroo National Park. For those who have just joined us, I'm with a group of ARB Penrith staff and customers, and despite the rain, we're having a great day of four-wheel driving. Some of the features of this trip include the several crossings of the Cox River and some steep climbs through natural eucalypt and pine plantation forests. As we get closer to the top, there are a few side tracks shortcutting the main road, and these provide a great opportunity to take on some climbs that are a bit more difficult. As you can see, the rain hasn't eased up at all, and the surface is getting very slippery. And whilst this doesn't look particularly steep, it's actually a pretty steep hill. And what better way to give learners a few extra hours by taking them four-wheel driving? The roads in this national park are in great condition and provide a low level of difficulty when it comes to off-road know-how. However, once you get close to the top of Mount Walker, there are a few side tracks available for the more experienced and extreme off-roaders. At the top of the 1187 metre high Mount Walker, which is now engulfed in cloud and fog, is this rocky climb, and it's not for everyone. Lots of clearance and some good tyres are well and truly needed to get to the top here. But it's not just about the truck you're in, you need to pick the right lines as well. After a lunch stop, we were back down at the Cox's River for another crossing, and this one has a very muddy entry. And as you can see, the front slid straight into the embankment. And now the back too. The Cox's River doesn't often flow like it is today, and it's a real treat to see it with so much water in it. Next across was the Ford F250. Ford have been producing the F-Series trucks for over 60 years now, and this is a mammoth four-wheel drive. It's got a 7.3 litre power stroke turbo diesel engine in it, and it's around 6 metres long. After we all crossed the river, it was then into some open country before our last challenge for the day. This shot, off the side of the 200 series Land Cruiser, gives you a feel for just how damp it is. And it's great to see such green paddocks. And this is our last challenge for the day. On the other side of this creek is a nice big hill climb before we make our way back to the Great Western Highway. Like most hills in the bush, there is usually a few ways up. The easy way and the hard way. And it wouldn't be a four-wheel drive trip if a few of the group didn't have a go at the hard way. And this is a good spot to get out and have a look. Warren is now having a second attempt at the hill and is having about as much success as the first time. A few of the other cars also give it a go, but it's a lot harder than it seems, especially in the wet. Most of the cars head up the easier track alongside. Well, that's it for our trip to Lithgow and Mount Walker. Warren and the team from ARB Penrith provided a great drive day, which was enjoyed by all who attended. Thanks, Warren. We'll see you next time.